Hi, I'm Carole Owens, and this is Stockbridge Updates. There's a lot of good news in the issue this week. Take advantage of it. We're going to finally get the water geological study that we have been looking for a couple of years, and that's going to tell us about the flow and the source and the quality of our water, which is pretty important. Let me think what else. Oh, as you know, we've got an election coming up September 3rd. We have 3 candidates running to represent us in our Berkshire 3rd District. That's Lee Davis from Great Barrington, Jamie Manassi from Stockbridge, and Patrick White from Stockbridge. So extra, read all about it. Now the fun thing this week was I got to go to the big event at the Colonial to introduce our Vice President, Kamala Harris. I was a guest. That's the only way I would have been able to go. I was a guest of a wonderful woman who said that she gifted me the ticket in exchange for my writing in the Edge, the Eagle, and Stockbridge Updates. And that was so nice and so generous, and I thank her. So the event at the Colonial, whether it was a shining moment in the history of the Democratic Party or a sad necessity, this was the program at the Colonial celebrating a new nominee for President of the United States from the Democratic Party. Now, separate and apart from the politics at all, separate and apart from how I feel about the president, the vice president, or the past president, this was a magnificent event. The people who did magnificently were us. It was clear from the very beginning that the vice president had not come to visit some hicks from the sticks. Our theater, restored, is magnificent. The police on horseback, that was such a great sight, and on foot, just looked grand. And with over 800 people, over 800 ticket holders, and having to go through 3 Secret Service screenings, the program started on time. We're pretty terrific. We had our former governor, Deval Patrick, Ed Markey, oh my goodness, and all our federal representatives there. They spoke very nicely. And then Yo-Yo Ma and Manny Axe played for us. But the exciting thing was when James Taylor walked out, and here and nowhere else could you see James Taylor sing 2 songs accompanied by Yo-Yo Ma and Emmanuel Axe. But I was thinking to myself, since we had Elizabeth Warren and Ed Markey and the former governor and our marvelous representatives, and they already spoke. So who in the world was going to introduce Kamala Harris? And very soon it became clear. It was James Taylor. And it made one of the most fun moments during the program, and it was that he introduced her and said he was honored to be on the stage with the Vice President of the United States, and she came out and she said, wait, she wouldn't let him leave the stage. I just want to say, I'm honored to be on the stage with James Taylor. Now, how quintessentially Berkshire. And then, to just put a cherry on the ice cream sundae, they ended only 17 minutes late. So hats off to us, regardless of what the content of the program was. The process was magnificent. I mentioned that we have an election, a Democratic primary, coming up on September 3rd. And I've made clear on social media and in the papers that I write for, that I support Patrick White. The ethics of journalism are as follows. I have every right to vote for, support any candidate I like. I don't lose that right because I'm a journalist, but I have the concomitant responsibility to let you know if I have a favorite. So now you know, and I'm asking all my colleagues, even that columnists are paid for their opinions, reporters are paid to be objective, but whether they're reporting or whether they're a columnist, I ask all of my colleagues to let you know if they have a particular choice so that you as the reader are informed as you read what we have to say. And if you'd like to look it up on your own, go to the Office of Campaign and Political Finance at www.ocpf.us. And there, search candidates, and then follow the prompts, and it will show you every penny donated to every candidate and who donated it. So be informed. I'm very lucky today to have a wonderful guest. His name is Darrell Fennelly, and he is the chief of the Stockbridge Police Department. Darrell, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Carole, for having me. I appreciate it. A little bit about myself, I guess. So I was born and raised here in Berkshire County. I grew up in Terringham, graduated from Lee High School. I live in Lee currently with my wife, who's a third grade teacher in Lee. We have two boys. One's 20, one's 14. The older one goes to BCC. He wants to be a gym teacher. The other one is going to be a freshman at Lee High School this year. So they keep us busy. So I became the chief in Stockbridge in 2016. I started in Stockbridge in 2008. Chief Wilcox, I hounded him enough that he finally hired me down there. So, and then several years later, I was able to become the chief there. So.
And congratulations, and we love having you as the chief.
Well, thank you.
Let's just talk about Stockbridge a minute.
Sure.
What about summer tourism in general?
Well, it's been very busy in Stockbridge this year. Anybody who drives through the town knows that, especially with Tanglewood having more popular artists this year than ever before. It brings a lot of people into town, into the Berkshires. As some may know, most don't. Tanglewood is 97% in Stockbridge. So anytime you go to a concert there, the Shed, the Lindy Center, Ozawa Hall, all in Stockbridge. So keeps us on our toes, keeps us very busy. So.
And you have a sort of cooperative arrangement with, is it Lenox and this, and who else?
So Tanglewood, the address for Tanglewood is Lenox. It's West Street in Lenox because the first few feet of the driveway are in Lenox. So Lenox handles that side of Tanglewood, the entrance part to it. We partner also with the Berkshire County Sheriff's Department with the traffic control around the outside of the venue. And on the inside of the venue, the Massachusetts State Police take care of the security and crowd control and the like inside the venue. So each year we have a planning meeting for the upcoming season. We all get on the same page, and it works out. The collaboration is just wonderful. Without those other agencies, I don't know what we would do in Stockbridge.
Right, because how big is your force? How big is this?
Well, yeah, we have 7 full-time officers and myself, and we have 1 administrative assistant. So back in the older days, Stockbridge was able to have a lot of part-time officers that would handle the Tanglewood duties. It just became too much, and I think sometime in the late 80s, I think Chief Wilcox then formed a partnership with the Sheriff's Department, and since then, within the last 5 years or so, the state police have now joined us to help with that.
Right, because you're a relatively small department and we get thousands of people. At a James Taylor concert, what would you estimate?
Well, it's, anywhere 17, 18,000, maybe more. Officially, I think it's 17,000, but there's probably a little bit more.
A little spillover.
Yeah, those are the big events. James Taylor, Brandy Carlisle, the last few times she's been here, has sold out, and of course we have the Tanglewood on the Parade and the film nights that happen. Those are usually very well attended events as well. So,
what do you think about policing in a small town? You know Bob Jones because you come
Sure.
from Lee,
Yeah.
and Bob always says we have to remember that it's more like Mayberry RFD than like NYPD Blue.
it is certainly a different type of policing in a small town. Our officers are tasked with a little bit of everything. When you have a larger city, they have certain divisions, a patrol division, a car accident division, a detective division. We don't have that. So our officers, kind of do a little bit of everything. So, but we try to focus in Stockbridge on community policing. Our officers are still out on the beat several times a day. We try to keep that hometown feel to how we police when we can. Of course, there's incidents where there's times where we have to be by the book and strict, but for the most part, I think we try to be fair with our neighbors. And
I remember you caught a bank robber.
well, that was before I was the chief. I was off that day, but yeah, we did have a bank robbery in Stockbridge. I think it was in 2014. Yeah, that was quite a day.
It was very impressive. Y'all caught that bank robber in hours, not days.
It was quick, and that also the public helped because they got the license plate number and things like that. So, it's good when you can work together with the community, and and that happens a lot, really. A collaborative effort. We had back in 2020, we had some vandalism done to our station and to our town offices.
Oh.
And the same thing. It happened in the middle of the night, and the newspaper man delivering the newspaper bundles to there in front of the post office in Stockbridge. He happened to take down a license plate number and pass that on to us. So
That's fantastic.
takes everybody, really.
And it goes from something like catching a bank robber or a vandal to helping a woman with a freezer, you told me.
Yeah, so a few weeks ago, we had a call from an elderly woman. She had just been shopping. She loaded her freezer up with all her groceries and couldn't get it shut. So she called us. So our officer went up there, and the drawer had come off the track. He got it back on track and shut the door. Was able to help her out rather than just telling her, well, you need to call the appliance man. So
Yeah.
that's the type of things we do. I think that's indicative of how we police in Stockbridge is, if somebody needs something, we'll try our best to help you,
Yeah, I think that's great. The median age in Stockbridge is 62. So one of the things that comes with a concentrated senior population is a lot of scams. I guess we look like a vulnerable population or something.
Well, I think that demographic of the population is more trusting of people, than the younger generation who may be a little bit more jaded. But we do have a lot of scams that go around, and they could be different things. It could be someone calling to tell you that they're the IRS, or they are the Sheriff's Department, and they have a warrant for you unless you pay a certain amount of money. Things like that. The key to all of it is if they ask for you to go buy gift cards, This is how the scammers get their money, through gift cards. They'll have you go buy the gift cards, you come back, you call them, and you read off the number on the gift card, and then the money's gone. It's gone. There's no way to get it back. So if anybody ever calls you and asks you to pay them in gift cards, please know it's a scam and call us right away. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Are there other things you want people to know?
Well, this summer, I know the surrounding towns, Lee and Lenox, have experienced some car break-ins in the middle of the night. So we encourage everyone to make sure your cars are locked. Lock your house, of course. While we live in the beautiful Berkshires, we're not resistant to crimes like that. So, and if you leave your car door open, somebody may go through your car and steal your belongings. So we've had it in Stockbridge. It was a few years ago. We had a group come through and did that. But Lee had it this year, and Lenox has also had it this year. But also, if you're out hiking and you're at a trailhead and you've parked at, say, the end of Park Street or up at Bullard Woods or somewhere in that area, make sure you take your belongings and lock them in your trunk. Because it's not unusual that somebody just comes along and looks in the car and sees something, and they'll take it.
Now, you mentioned to me that you now have body cams at Stockbridge Police Department, and I didn't know that. I don't know if you're wearing one.
I'm not wearing mine now.
Oh, okay.
No.
So, but tell us, what does it look like, and what's cooking?
Yeah. So a few years ago, I guess November of 2022, we ordered the body cams and set up our body cam program. And what they do, well, most officers will wear them right here in the middle. Some have them on their shoulder. But we thought it was a good idea to have it. It's just it's an added layer of transparency, protection for the public, protection for the police. So everything's out in the open. It's
right, and it's not a he said, she said. You can, let's go to the videotape.
That's right. So we had an incident where someone made an accusation against us. We were handling an arrest with the state police. So the accusation was made. Fortunately for the state police, they had already had the cameras, so they were able to disprove the claim immediately. The investigation for us took a bit longer, but again, it was found to not have any validity. But we felt at the time we should probably have these to protect ourselves and to protect the public. So since then, we've had a few complaints. We were able to go to the body cam, and we saw that they were unfounded. So,
gosh,
good protection.
It's probably very emotional moments.
Well, that's the thing with police. Even in a small town, you're meeting people at their worst times, unfortunately. Yes.
And so, it could be a mismemory, or when you get emotional, you see it differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But, we can look back at the footage, and, if our officer's done something wrong, we're able to, make the corrective action based on that footage. And it's real. It's not a he said, she said.
I have an awful story about a turtle, but you said you had a story about a turtle. Is yours better than mine?
Well, no, we can hear yours. Ours is just typical of Stockbridge.
Well, I want to hear your good news turtle after I tell you my bad news turtle. So I was driving on one of the narrower back roads, and there was a turtle walking across the road. And turtles are very slow. I mean, it could be next Thursday by the time they got to the other side. So I didn't know what to do. I stopped my car right there blocking the lane. And there were no cars coming in either direction, which was fine. But then I saw a truck coming. So I waved my arms, stop, 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 stop. I was going to show him the turtle. So he stopped. He came in front of me, but stopped short of the turtle. And I was running up to thank him. You know how kind it was?
Sure.
And he took a shovel out of the back of his truck and smashed the turtle to bits and shoveled it up and threw it in his truck and drove away. And I was so upset.
Yeah.
And even if you make turtle soup, you can't do it after you smash the shell like that.
Yeah.
And so I was so upset, I told the police. And the policeman went and found the truck, because I could describe it, and I knew where the truck was going.
Sure.
And spoke to the man and said that was not the right thing to do. And it was a terrible experience for me. I was so shocked.
I'm sure. That's terrible.
And so upset. And I was so pleased that a policeman would do that.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'm speechless at that story. Why someone would do that.
I was too. I was too.
Yeah, I mean, well, we get a lot of calls in the spring, early summer, because they're always crossing down on Route 7 South as you approach the Great Barrington Town line. So we get several calls down there. Now our story involves a shovel as well. So we bought grain shovels with the big scoop on it, so we can shovel turtles across the road.
Right.
So we did that. We had one earlier this year, and it was a big one. And a lady, I don't believe that she was from the area, she wanted to take it. And she wanted to keep it as a pet. But it was a large snapping turtle. And I thought to myself, that's probably not a pet that you want to have, because you might lose a finger or two. So, but that's what we do. We scoop them up with the grain shovel, and we help them across the road. So.
That's so marvelous, because I'm from Minnesota. I'm a country girl. And I can adapt way more easily to the country than to any city.
Right.
And one of the things that my granny taught me, don't get in reach of a snapping turtle, and remember that they can stretch their necks quite far.
That's right.
So you get behind them, and you take a shovel, and you lift up his hindquarters, and you walk
Just
him
help him across.
That's right.
That's right.
And so, no, that lady should not keep a snapping turtle.
Not a good idea. That's true.
Okay, city folks, I want to thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thanks
just,
for having me.
It's delightful having you, and to let the audience get to know you a little bit and your philosophy on policing.
Yeah, again, it's different than I think what some people get elsewhere, even in Berkshire County, how we kind of do things in Stockbridge. It's a unique town. It has a unique population, especially in the summer, and it takes a unique force to kind of handle all of that.
Bless your heart. Thank you,
Carole.
so
thank
much,
you for
and
having
thank
me.
you for the job you do.
I appreciate it.
One of the interesting things about the Stockbridge Updates issue, and take a look at it, it's always out on the 1st and the 15th. Look in your email. If you're not receiving it, just go to www.stockbridgeupdates.com and sign up. Some of the concerns in this issue, in the letter section, were about clear cutting, which is something that's now becoming much more common, and it hurts us to have all of our trees in one space cut down all at once. And it takes 200 years to grow a 200-year-old tree. So be careful when you cut. And the other thing of a lot of concern that you can read about in Stockbridge Updates is the new governor appears to have a propensity for removing local control and restoring control over zoning and certain local decisions to the state. And we need to keep our eye on that. They have goals for renewable energy, and it takes thousands of acres for sufficient solar panels and windmills to meet those goals. And gee whiz, I wonder where they're going to find the acreage. Downtown Boston or Berkshire County? So we need to keep our eye on that. Read the issue, write in, let us know what your concerns are. It's been delightful being with you. Thank you so much.